Shabbat Shalom. I have felt that I haven't had enough fun during these videos, so I'm wearing my Sacramento Kings hat, Light the Beam. And by the way, I got this in November before I knew that the Kings would be the third seed. So it's not that I'm a fair weather fan, I'm still a Bucks fan. So much to talk about with Aharei Mot-Kedoshim. I want to focus on one of the lesser talked about topics. The sexual prohibitions in Leviticus 18 and 20, both in Aharei Mot and in Kedoshim. Why are these things prohibited, most of which are relations with a family member? Yes, there is in here prohibition on bestiality, a prohibition that would become known as a prohibition on homosexuality, though it's really not that. I should say same-sex relations. You can see my Jewish take on the topic. But what I want to focus on is why were these prohibitions there in the first place? Leviticus chapter 18, verse 2 says, don't do what you saw in Egypt when you were slaves. These were practices done in Egypt. And also don't do what you're going to see in Canaan, in the promised land. In other words, to separate yourself from those around you. So much of Leviticus, the holiness code, as it became known, is about not imitating people around you. Kashrut, which we read about in Shmini, was one of these practices to separate from the other people around you. And so the emphasis here is for Israel to be distinct from those around it. So I'm going to ask, why is that the case, and should we be concerned about that today? Many people bemoan assimilation, the fact that the Jewish community has become not only welcome and accepted, but fully integrated into wherever they live, that they've lost their Pintele Yid, or at least their Jewish connections, shall we say. So the question is assimilation a bad thing, following the people around you? And my answer is it depends. At times, it can be problematic. Just like if people told you to jump off the cliff, you wouldn't jump off. Social mores in the surrounding society cannot always be what we want them to be, or new does not always mean better. On the other hand, we are products of our society, those of us who have chosen to integrate in the wider society, like me wearing this King's hat. Those of us who have chosen that should find things within our society that are good and are things that are meaningful to us. We don't have to be as afraid of idolatry and impropriety, though we still have to be very mindful of it. We don't need to, per se, be concerned that it's only going to come from the surrounding society. That's a bigger point, but I want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom and happy to discuss it maybe at Kiddush.